Yep, you've guessed it. I'm broke down again. Hey, Trucker Todd here, and time for another video. As you just saw, I'm broke down. I'm in Williams, Arizona, waiting for a tow to Flagstaff for repairs right outside of Flagstaff, a town called Belmont. General area though. It's over 100 degrees. The truck won't run. It's after treatment issues. Stay with me and I'll tell you what's going on. Alrighty, this video is going to be kind of spliced together because it's an ongoing story. But before we go any further, because I'm sure there's going to be follow-up videos to this, make sure that you've subscribed to the channel, that you've clicked that bell notification so you'll be notified when future videos comes out, and that you share this video on your social media platforms. This video was originally going to be a kind of a truck stop rant. We're still going to do that. We're going to do that portion first. And alrighty, sorry about that. It's kind of ongoing. The phone rang. I had to take the call. So let's start with Loves. Let me tell you what's going on with Loves. And basically the point I'm going to make in this video is that all of the truck stops have declined. They don't give a crap about the customers, truck drivers anyway. They used to be called truck stops. To the best of my knowledge, all of them are called travel centers now, and they're more geared towards the RV community, travelers, and less interested in truck drivers. And for guys that hadn't been driving that long, you may not have noticed the difference, but I remember a time when you could walk up to a fuel desk and they had a chart there. It would tell you how many miles you were from town. If you got to a town you didn't know where a place was, and this was before GPSs were popular, you could say, hey, where's Nestle? Hey, where's Walmart Distribution Center? And they could tell you how to get there. Now you're lucky if one of them can even tell you how to get to a Walmart. They'll usually say something like, I don't live in this area, things like that. There used to be an assortment of truck accessories at truck stops, and those are gone too. Now some things have improved over the years. They used to have sections of payphones, and you would buy these little calling cards and call home, and instead of talking to your family several times a day or even once a day, you usually called them a couple of times a week. And it also, if you got lost, you had to usually find a payphone. Payphones were everywhere. The invention of cell phones, while it's kind of killed CBs and things like that, it has helped in that way. A lot of guys run GPS but don't have the paper atlases no more. I always had the laminated paper atlas because it's nice to fall back on sometimes. And so that's my take on that. There's with everything with change, there's always positives and negatives. But speaking of Loves, I went into one the other day and went up. I had free drinks at Loves because I bought a lot of diesel there in the past. And I went to get a Coke Zero out of the fountain drink. And it was out. I mentioned it to the drink attendant there. He just ignored me the first time. So I said, okay. I walked over to the fuel desk. I said, could you have somebody change the Coke Zero? The Coke Zero's out. I'd already used my Loves card for the reward and everything. And she said, yeah, I'll get somebody. So I went back over there and stood. And nobody came. So I told the drink attendant again. I said, hey, you may not have heard me earlier. The Coke Zero's out. He said, yeah, I don't know how to change it, so I don't know what to tell you. If not, I'll go find somebody. I'll ask somebody to teach me. Nothing. So I said, all right. So I went back to the fuel desk. I said, hey, were you able to get anybody? She said, I've not been able to find a manager. I said, yeah, I can't find one either. And about the time that I did, the one in, and yet again the phone rings. About the time that she said, yeah, I haven't been able to find a manager either. There was one in the office right next to the fuel desk where they always are that reached up and shut the door. So my takeaway from that is that management don't care, and obviously the employees don't care. Now, I realize that's one location. It may be different. Some Loves are obviously better than others. Some truck stops are obviously better than others. I've had very little experience with the Loves shop, so I don't feel comfortable commenting. One thing I will say, I did that video recently where I was complaining about the environmental fees that shops charge. I realized that every shop does it. When I was a service writer, we did it. But just because everybody's doing something doesn't make it right. And that was the point I was trying to make in that other video. Okay, so Loves, while they have really good fuel prices usually, their showers are kind of hit and miss, and restaurant choices are generally fast food. You know, that's another thing. In the old days in truck stops, there were actual sit-down restaurants, and I mean reasonably priced sit-down restaurants. Now, a combo's $10 at a truck stop, and it's fast food. It's not healthy for you. It's not good for you, especially if you're trying to lose weight like I am and like I've done. It takes a lot of effort. And so, boy, this is really going to be one spliced together video. My camera overheated on my other phone. I'm sitting in my truck currently. It's over 100 degrees. It's super hot, and we're going to get to that in a minute. So I was talking about the showers and the fast food at Loves, how they're kind of hit and miss. The store is definitely a travel center and not a truck stop. Very, very little truck supplies and accessories, mostly knickknacks, toys, things like that that have nothing to do with trucking. And I realize they're trying to broaden their customer base. Another big criticism for Loves is parking. They know they're going to be busy, and they make these little bitty parking lots in most cases where it's difficult, if not impossible, to find parking a lot of times. So I'm not going to beat up on Loves anymore right now. So let's move on to Pilot Flying J. Pilot Flying J has had a history, and I've talked about it in my other videos, of lawsuits against them, things like that, for let's just say unethical business practices. You can Google Pilot Flying J lawsuit and read about their checkered past. I'm not going to drag them through the mud anymore today, but they're kind of like Loves as far as the store goes. Showers are, I would say, they're a step above Loves most of the time. And restaurants, you're either going to get a Denny's or some kind of fast food, usually a Subway or a McDonald's. They do generally have larger parking lots than Loves, and some of them have shops, but most of them do not. I like Pilot Flying J. They're probably my favorite truck stop chain. It's just anything they tell you, you need to get in writing from them. They've been, in sales, they taught us to under-promise and over-deliver. And that meant you would exceed expectations. You would tell people one level, and then you'd go above and beyond that level so that your customer was pleasantly surprised. Well, Pilot Flying J seems to do the exact opposite. They promised me the world when we started negotiating for that fuel card, and I would say they're at about 50 or 60% of what they promised me. Now, I haven't broke ties with them yet. Don't know if I will. We're still in ongoing negotiations and trying to find something that works for both sides. But I would say never take them at their word, and get anything that they promise you or tell you in writing, and go from there. And it's not just me. Read reviews online and make your own opinion. That's just my experience with them. Now let's move to TA truck stops. All right, let's start with the good. Typically the stores are a little bit bigger. Typically they have a little bit more truck supplies. They're probably the most truck stop like of the three chains I'm mentioning in this video. restaurants. They usually have a sit-down restaurant, Country Pride, and usually they also have a fast food alternative. Um, Showers, I would say, are probably the best of the three. Um, and the shop, I've got a lot to say about the shop. We'll go into them in a minute. As far as fuel, I would rate them as the worst to get fuel. They're definitely the most expensive. And as far as the shop, the techs themselves I don't have a problem with. But the other stuff is where the problems begin. Usually their service riders make you jump through a ton of hoops to get your truck worked on. Usually there's a several hour wait to get your truck worked on. Let's talk about that for a second. The official answer I've received about that is that right now, because of the pandemic and the way that people are being paid unemployment, that they're having trouble getting techs to come to work. You've heard me talk about supply and demand in other videos. If unemployment is paying better than what you're paying a certified ASE certified technician, you probably need to go up on your rates. Now, on my last repair bill, the labor rate was $117.99 an hour for the tensioner, and they charged me $461.99 to put on the water pump. Or no, that's not right. $319. Man, I hate the way they wrote that ticket. Or I'm sorry, I'm still not right. I'm in the heat and it's kind of affecting me a little. $335.99. If they can charge $117 an hour shop rate, surely they can pay their techs more than the $10 or $15 an hour that it takes to get a tech to work. I recently heard a study that average unemployment benefits are between $300 and $400 a week. Okay, let's take the high there. Let's say it's $400 a week. And then Trump just signed the executive order for another $400 a week. So they're getting $800 a week to stay home on the high side. If they can't make $800 a week in a shop working a 40-hour week, give them $20, $25 an hour. That way you can provide good service to your customers, unless you don't care about providing good service to your customers. I was at a shop in Slidell, Louisiana, that one where they just did those repairs, and I haven't talked about this in other videos. I was saving it for this video, and they said, we're going to pull you in about an hour. I said, all right. I gave them both cell phone numbers. Call me when you're ready for me. I waited 2 hours, didn't hear nothing, called them. They said, oh, we tried to call you. I said, no, you didn't. I said, I'll show you my phone records. I'll show you my phone. I said, you did not try to call me. Oh, yeah, our guy said he tried to call you. I said, did you leave a voicemail? You should have heard the stuttering. So they said, well, we're going to have to put you back in line. You'll be at the end. So I called Roadrunner. Roadrunner said, well, we'll call them. They changed their story for Roadrunner. Oh, no, we've only got one tech here, and he's got 2 tires to do, and after that, we'll get you in. Now, I do want to mention that while I'm criticizing the shops, I am not criticizing the techs. Most of the techs are pretty good. I'm also not criticizing Roadrunner in this video. Night dispatch has greatly improved. They have a female and a male that work night dispatch 99% of the time. Both of their names start with J. You know, I don't give names on here. And both of them are outstanding. This is in no way a criticism of night dispatch. I do have some issues with them hitting our maintenance account without approving it first, and I've mentioned that in other videos, so I'm not going to rehash that anymore. But so that's the take on TA, and I'm just going to leave it there. Like I said, I'm really hot right now. Today, I do want to tell you another thing about TA. I've been sitting here a little over 3 hours now. And, you know, I've said in previous video that Roadrunner uses TA Road Squad for all their repairs. So I was on the phone with Volvo. My truck's broke down right now, something to do with the after treatment system. And they said, yeah, we can get you a tow truck right out. We can tow you over to this shop that's 30 miles away and get started on you. This was at like 1 or 2 o'clock in the afternoon. So I said, well, let me get Roadrunner in the loop before we do that. So I called maintenance, said, hey, here's what's going on. Do you want me to set it up through Volvo, or do you want to set it up? Oh, no, we got to go through Road Squad. We got to go through Road Squad. All right, let's do it. So he calls Road Squad. They say, yeah, we're going to call the driver right now. For the next 3 hours, nobody calls me. Some of this story's still ongoing. That's why this video is so spliced and put together the way it is. Finally, somebody calls me and says, well, the problem is that the shop where you're wanting to tow your truck doesn't accept TA Road Squad's method of payment. So then the guy suggests that instead of me being towed 30 miles that way, that we tow me 300 miles east to Albuquerque. And I'm like, no, the tow bill for 30 miles is going to be far different than the tow bill to Albuquerque. And he says, I said, why don't we just do an EFS check? Well, if we do that, it's coming out of your settlement. We can't take it out of maintenance. So I ended up having to make some phone calls, and I got it where they're going to take it out of maintenance. But I'm viewing this as TA Road Squad wasted 3 hours of time today that we could have been getting me out of this heat. As you can see in part of this video, I've lost coherence. I kind of losing train of thought and things like that. It's over 100 degrees. I'm drinking plenty of fluids, but I'm not feeling real hot. And so I'm hoping that I get some good news soon. But I'm going to wrap this video up. You guys, as I said earlier, make sure you're subscribed so that you can see how this all ends. And we'll catch you on the next one. Y'all have a great day. Bye-bye.